Hey guys, it's Penelope in London, and we have a full moon in Aquarius coming really shortly. I'm recording this, it's about, let's see, half an hour away, and if not before. And what I want to do is show you this chart, which is the chart of now, and I'm going to take it a little bit forward. And then it's in the UK time that I've got up here. And what I'm going to do is just get my pointer and I'm going to show you what's going on. So we have the sun is in Leo. You can see here it's 126 and we've got the moon at 131. So we're going to align these two. I'm going to show you, I love solar fire, and we'll see that seconds and we've got minutes. So we're just going to move it forward to, you see it's going 40 in the UK. This is the UK time you can see here. But I can tell you that if you're in California, then it's 7:36 p.m. And if you are in New York, then it's going to be 10:36 p.m. on the 23rd of July. But if you're in the UK, then it's the 24th of July at 3:36 a.m. So let's see here. We're going to go back, forward. There you go. Oh, that's two. No, that's wrong. Take it back a bit. I'm messing around here. Right, okay, get on with this. So what we have is that we've got this full moon and it's making some aspects, but what we can see, if you recall last year, if you're into astrology, you would know this, that we had the Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter. It was the Great Conjunction, and that basically, when that happened, we had COVID just happened for all of us, and we had the lockdowns, and it could be seen the symbology in the chart. We could see from the symbols. So what we have now is that we have this moon is landed in the middle of Pluto and Saturn's retrograde and Pluto in retrograde, but the moon moves very quickly. And with this, if we look at what the moon in the sign of Aquarius means, and I'll explain that, and then the also the archetype of what that means, and we'll look at the Leo sun as well. But the moon in Aquarius is where our relationship with our emotions can get a bit complicated, because we want to be free of negative emotions such as fear and our anger and our jealousy, but it can also lead others to expect, we might expect others, people may expect us to be more tolerant of them, and we may want that as well, but it may not happen because, when people display these emotions. And we may also want to create distance from our own emotions and, distance from our natural instincts and emotions, because Aquarius can be detached. It's able to look at things without being overly emotional. And it's also where we can be unconsciously, get ourselves into forces and accept, where we can sort of accept a reality. It's like we can, because we're detached, we can accept it. Whereas if we were more emotional, then we may not accept something. But when we're detached and we're sort of looking in, it's very interesting because I've seen there's a lot of marches, I think, going on around the world. I did see that. So it's very interesting. This is happening at this full moon. And then we've got the ability here to be the observer of our life, of the life, what's going on around us. And also it's where we can give impartial advice to each other better because we're not so emotionally involved. That's the whole thing with the Aquarius and the Uranus. It's, detachment. And but also with the Uranus being the ruler of Aquarius, we can also have things like shocks as well. There can be shocks, and where this moon is in between Pluto, and I'll tell you those aspects, it's also where we can be unpredictable with this moon, and also we have a strong need for freedom of expressing ourselves. How am I going to express myself? So we can be moody as well, and we can be unpredictable, but we can be happy when we're in a group of people that all get us. So, it'd be interesting to see how these marches play out. So the full moon, it's the 23rd of July, as I just said, in the USA. But we're ahead in the UK, and it's at 3:36 a.m. in the UK, and it's at 1°25. So there you go. If I go back actually by minutes and get that to 25, that's nearly there. It's a bit slow, 25. There you go. So we're all here to sort of be ourselves on Earth, but we've got a lot of sort of forcing us into situations at the moment, as we can see. We've all got different opinions as well. But our relationship with our emotions, as I'm saying, can be more complicated. And as we try and free ourselves from our own feelings and negative emotions, or we want to, so we've got to watch out for this, that we're not too detached, because there can be too much detachment. And when we become individuated, it's not about actually becoming overly detached. If you look at the work of Carl Gustav Jung, he sort of, it's still about having a soul and being loving and knowing ourselves. So individuation is not disappearing on the world. It's about becoming more integrated with ourselves. So if we look at the Aquarius keywords, we have liberation from conditioning. We can have alienation. It's about our hopes and ideals. It's our long-term memory. It's individuation, individuality. It's where we can rebel. It's about like-minded groups, and it can be group hysteria. It's to do with the community. There can also be fragmentation, and we can have it's the mass trauma, past life stuff as well, splitting. It's where we're unique. It can be shocking. It's also our projection, hyperactivity. It's very electrical, and trauma. And also in the mythology, Prometheus, and it's where we're revolutionary. It's where we can be ostracized, cast out, and telepathic and objective awareness. And if we look at the sun, then we got that the sun has just moved into Leo as well. And I will tell you that we've got another full moon in Aquarius this month as well, which makes it a blue moon when you have two moons in a month. But it's incredible that it's going to be in the same sign as well. And then we've got the sun, which you can see here, is about power. It's the king and the queen. It's creative self-realization, grandiosity, where we can be grandiose, the artist, inflation. It can be positive or negative inflation. Involvement is where we want approval, or we're given approval as well. We can be an exhibitionist and we want applause. We can have purpose. It can be drama, arts, creativity, fame, special recognition and being noticed. And it can be where we gamble, and the actor and the actress, risk taker. It can be to do with affairs, and also children and the inner child as well. And then taking it on from there, we're going to look at some aspects, and I'm going to show you my chart as well. So when I show you my chart, it'll give you an idea of how you're looking at your own, which is really important to do. So we know always when we have a full moon, the sun and the moon are in opposition, and when we have a new moon, the moon is on top of the sun, not on top of the sun in reality, but it's lined up in the sky, conjunct. And it's also, the sun is our ego and our individuality, and there can be conflicts with the sun opposing the moon. When it's full, and it's also, it can cause conflicts in relationships. We can have that because there's a pull going on there. The sun is sextile to Venus. You see the sun is sextile to Venus. You can see it's just 30 degrees just there. And then we've also got the sun is opposing Saturn up here. You can see that. And it's also opposing Pluto. The sun is trine to Neptune. What's good that's going on here? The sun is trining to Neptune up here. And that is harmonious for us, and it can make us sentimental and good relationships and good manners. And the sun opposition Pluto is our tough one here. So if we look at actually the Sun opposition Saturn, and it's applying, it's quite a big degree difference there. It's 9 degrees off, but this aspect is where, you know, it's about groups of people, creates 2 groups of people, and people in the first group tend to give up when they encounter problems. And in the second group, it's where we get stimulated by problems to perform better. So we're going to work differently. We're all different, but we can see that, you know, we're struggling with this one at the moment. We're trying to solve problems if we think about this. And we've also got the Sun opposition Pluto, and this can make us stubborn, and also it can make us decisive as well. But it's also where we tend to tell others what to do and try to persuade them. So this is, you know, Pluto in Capricorn, it's to do with patriarchal rule, it's to do with government, it's to do with our work, it's to do with the mask that we wear, the face we put onto the world, but it's also about maturing as well, the 10th house and Capricorn. And it's also where we can, this aspect where we, you know, we can encounter profound changes in our surroundings more than usual. And it's also, so we'll have to see how this plays out, but also that Moon is also conjunct Saturn. So when we look at the conjunction, which are the most important ones here, I think the Moon conjunct Saturn, I'll read, and the Moon conjunct Pluto, but the Moon conjunct Saturn, it can, you know, it can make us stable and honest in difficult situations, but we might not trust our feelings because, you know, there can be some rigidness, but the Moon is over emotional. It's to do with our emotional selves. So it can give us a bit of emotional issues that come up. But if we're stable, then, you know, we may be stable, but find it hard to express our feelings. With the Moon conjunct Pluto, it's a very interesting aspect because the Pluto Moon aspects, I have Pluto square my Moon at birth, and I know Pluto is our main player in the evolutionary astrology, and the Moon is our emotions. The Pluto is the soul journey. It's all that's unconscious in us. And what we have is this aspect, it can cause us, the Moon conjunct Pluto, unnecessary stubbornness in conflicts with loved ones. And it's also where we do not like making compromises, and we can be difficult to get along with. It's where we hide our true feelings, and then we can have emotional outbursts and also decide to make radical changes, even in matters of important and personal nature. Interestingly enough, if you have this conjunction, if you're a woman and you have this at birth, the Moon conjunct Pluto, it can create, you know, pathological connections between, you know, the feminine and the mother and daughter. So we need to look at our charts carefully to understand ourselves. It doesn't mean that we get stuck in our charts. We have free will. We've always got to remember that. But it can be a coercive relationship that, and mother and daughter is also not just birth mother and daughter, you know, because people have all different sorts of circumstances, but it's the mother archetype and the daughter archetype. And it's where, you know, we can be sort of held back from wanting to become independent and living our life the way we want. The conjunction for a man, it does manifest differently, and it can be where the mother also does, you know, it is over influencing the son, and also making the son subconsciously dependent on the mother. But in both of these, we need strong pressure in order to be able to perceive it all. We need to understand ourselves and know ourselves and look at the totality of a chart. So then we've got Mercury trine Neptune. Mercury is opposition to Pluto as well when this is going on. So Mercury is here. You can see that's 24 and that's 25. So it's all linking in here. And we have where we can be overly dominated by their opinions. We can be, you know, dominating with our opinions. We can see this is a little bit of fiery going on here. And we have to watch ourselves, you know, with full moons anyway. It's better to take a step back because it's a culmination of events. So it could be that something's going to culminate. And when we see these, you know, people protesting, for instance, tomorrow, you know, where will these things lead in our protesting? But we have free will and we can protest peacefully. over things as well. I only have seen that. I don't know how true it is, but I've seen that going around that in the UK, definitely. With the Sun opposition Pluto, it could, you know, we do know that this can make us stubborn as well. And the other thing that I'm just looking here, we've got Venus conjunct Mars, that's moving off now. And that makes us very sensitive. And the Venus opposing Jupiter, it can make us emotionally demanding because Jupiter, you know, there's grandiosity and Venus is our needs. So it can definitely make us emotionally demanding, and also where we're often unable to maintain friendships because of our interests. So, you know, because it could be all about self, Jupiter, I want to do what I want to do, and, you know, I'm more important, such like. Mars is also opposing Jupiter. It's a really interesting chart. Mars is also opposing Jupiter at this point as well. And that's actually applying, I think, here. So Mars is applying in 4 degrees. As Mars moves in this week, it's going to be in the opposition to Jupiter. And this can make us reckless and extreme reactions. Now, the difference will be we all have our own personal charts, but then we've got the collective chart. So really what we're looking at right now is the collective chart. And we can have 2 different things go on here with this Mars opposing Jupiter. There's always more than 2 things, but, you know, it's an idea. And we basically want to just make sure that we're not, you know, being pushy. And we can also want to travel with this. The Saturn square Uranus is going on all year. So if you look here, Saturn is here and it's square to Uranus. That's where we want to break free of limitations, but we're being held back. We don't know if we're coming or going. And also Neptune is sextile to Pluto. The other thing that interested me on this chart was the North Node is trine to Saturn. It's separating now. And the positive thing about this is that we're focused on overcoming our challenges in life. I'm seeing that in myself, you know, that I'm definitely been looking at my challenges right now, looking at what's going on in the media very slightly. I don't get overly hooked on that. I don't own a television as an example, and I don't read newspapers. I sort of get my fill from what's going on around me, and clearly social media and talking to my friends and people. But this can also, whilst it will helps us to overcome challenges in life, and we can be consistently aware of our responsibilities and be very tireless in our path, and which is great. And it's also where we are able to overcome our limits. So, you know, there's other things going on. We've got the Chiron, which is the moon conjunct asteroid Lilith, who did not want to lay below Adam in the Garden of Eden in the mythology there. We've also got Eris is still in the square to Pluto, which is the goddess of discord. So we're feeling that the discord that's going on, you know, jealousies and warlike energy, and Pluto, so transformation. So that, I think, is this chart for today. I don't think there was anything else there, but we know it's a culmination. I've got one more last thing here, and that it's with the new moon, it's always about setting intentions for the future, because it goes in from nothing to, you know, not being seen at all, a new moon, and then it leads up to the future, and then projects that we get on with those throughout the month. And then when it hits the full moon, it's a culmination and the fruition of what's been going on, because it always starts, the new moon is always not seen. And then as we work through our projects, and when it's full, completely full, it's an energetic sort of moment of, yeah, I've reached my peak in something. So, and as it decreases again, then it's going back in away from the light and then towards the light. And it's to do with, you know, the way the planets work. It's just incredible that we see the moon, because the sun shines light. It's the angles of where we're at. You know, the moon would not shine if it was not for the sun. So we need each other as well. We wouldn't shine, the sun in Leo, we wouldn't shine. We wouldn't be able to shine if others did not exist. It would be a thought. Then we're going to look at my chart, and I'm going to show you how you can do your aspects, and then I'm leaving it there for today. So let me just change screen, share, new share, and here, okay, this is my chart. Let's update this, get rid of the pointer here and update. And we're a few minutes away from the full moon. I'm feeling quite good about it, which is great. So let me show you what's happening for me. My full moon, so you would look at your chart, and if you want one of these, go to astro.com and you put in your name, date, time, place. Time is really important, otherwise you're not going to know what houses the planets fall in. If I didn't know my time of birth, then I would not know where that moon would fall. I would know it would be in the sign of Aquarius, but I would not know what house it would fall in. I could get closer depending on the hour or the time, but you know, charts can be rectified, but you might need help with that. I can sort of try and help with understanding that, or help others by looking at the Pluto placements, because Pluto takes 240 years to move around the chart. So there's a way of playing with it, but that takes time. Then we have, for me, what's happening with this moon. We know it's in my second house, which is about my values and my needs. And we've also got that my moon is in a trioctal to Pluto. So if you look here, and Pluto's up here, my natal Pluto. So that's a tricky, that's a tricky angle, but I'm okay with it because I understand my free will now, and I run with my emotions, meaning that I don't reject my emotions. And I've done a lot of inner work and looked at my shadow, doing the work of Carl Gustav Jung and all of the other things I've done in my life. Just the culmination of everything I've done gave me the wisdom that I have now, that I deal with myself in a particular way when I'm feeling upset or traumatized or triggered. I allow myself, sometimes I'm triggered, and I allow myself, I don't shame myself anymore when, with my emotions. So my moon is in quite a beautiful quintile to my Neptune here. So you can see that. That's a 72 degree. It's a very spiritualized angle. And then my moon is in a trioctal, which is a semi-square to Uranus and Pluto, and the moon, my moon as well. Let me see, actually wrong. Trioctile would be to Uranus, to my Uranus and to my moon here. Trioctal is about, I can't remember, I think it's 150 degrees. The moon is trining to my sun, which is quite beautiful for me, you see, because that's 0 degrees, that's a trine. So that's really beautiful energy. My sun is giving me a bit of so the moon and the sun, I'm getting a bit of a hard time, but I can handle it. The moon is octile to Pluto, it's octile to Uranus. So the sun actually, you can see up here, and the sun is actually, it's here, and it's a 45 degree angle. That's 30 degrees, and that's 15, that's 45. That's called an octile. Then it's semi-sextile to Jupiter, and it's octile to my moon. Give me a good one here to work on myself and integrate a bit more of my life stuff. And then the sun is sextile to my sun, which is gorgeous as well for me. So when you understand that, you can see how the next month is possibly playing out. My moon is also sextile to my power of fortune, which is here. So the moon is, you can't see it on this chart. And it's also trine to my sun as well, to my power of fortune. The sun is trine, where's the sun up here? To my power of fortune, which is down there. And then the sun is biquintal to my Lilith. So the sun is it, which is 144 degrees, to my Lilith, which is here, around here. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoy this one, and it's a culmination. So we need to just keep doing our inner work and look after ourselves. And, we need to incorporate good, healthy diet and food. So many of us ignore this. And also the other thing is daily exercise. I'm doing 30 minutes a day at the moment. I'm not going mad, but I'm doing stretching out. And the more I do it, the easier it gets and the better I feel. I've been doing it for a few months. So look after yourself, take responsibility for your immune system, take responsibility for what you put into your body, you know, be the parent to yourself, and, you know, look at what you need to challenge in yourself as well. And also because change is our ally. I heard a great little video the other day. If we look at change as being an ally to us, then change is easier. What do I need to change? What do I want to change? So that's it. And I'll catch you later. I'll see you next in a couple of days with something else, if not before, over the weekend. Catch you later. Thanks for watching.